Hey there, welcome to Rethinking the Dollar. I wanted to share today's blog post with you via video just because I think it's something that it'll be one of those did you know type of moments. And it's entitled Why Our Grandparents Had It Better Than Us. And it also has to do with legal tender over the last 111 years. And so, what I want to ask you question wise, so take a second, think about it. How many forms of legal tender have we used here in the United States of America over the last 111 years? So I'll give you a second to think about it. And just, give you something to think about even more. When I say the word legal tender, just to give you a heads up, legal tender, here's a definition from Google. Coins or banknotes that must be accepted if offered in payment of a debt. So right there, just give you an idea of what legal tender actually is, the legal term of it, rather. So time's up. Wanted to just share with you briefly what that answer to the question is. I thought it was quite interesting and something, a little food for thought to chew on. There's actually been in the last 111 years a total of 10 legal tenders that has been recognized as legal tender or as a medium of exchange in commerce. And so I came across an article, The Commoner. It says this is an old press syndicate out of Lincoln, Nebraska, no longer in function. It was only around from 1901 to 1923. But here's January 15th edition in 1904. So that gives us 111 years ago. And to read this, I came across a couple things that just, I found it could be very informative as to how we've been reduced down to the bare minimum of options to use as far as being able to transact business as well as to be able to store our purchasing power. And so I just wanted to briefly give you an idea. I'll include the link and things like that, and definitely an article I would recommend you check out just because this is monetary history at its finest right here. And the whole point of Rethinking a Dollar is to basically educate the people on educate the common people on monetary literacy. One of the most important subjects of your lifetime. You just don't know it yet. But anyway, here I wrote, here's an excerpt from my article, The Commoner, a newspaper in Lincoln, Nebraska, 1904, where a reader asked the editor a question about money. His question was, please give me a list of money in circulation that is legal tender and that which is not. And so this area right here is legal tender section. And also, one thing you'll notice about reading this article, this is a little side note, but yet in reading older literature, the journalism was a lot more genuine and more we the people like, where people didn't sugarcoat it. They were straight to the point. Media was very diverse as far as having different viewpoints, and so there was no mainstream media where everything's been reduced down to just reading off some cue cards type of media. So here, if you read this as well as other things I'm going to post in the future, you'll get a chance to see how we the people, or those people rather, really express their opinions and their dislikes and likes, which gave you a more well-rounded viewpoint of issues of that day. But anyway, back to this article. The editor and proprietor William J. Bryan, who wrote the following, which states that in 1904, the citizens had 10 forms of legal tender to use at their disposal. So here I placed a link for you to look it out for yourself. So just to give you a snippet as to what those 10 tenders are, it says there are 10 different kinds of money in circulation in the United States, namely gold coins, standard silver coins, subsidiary silver, gold certificates, silver certificates, treasury notes issued under the Act of July 14th, 1890, United States notes, also called greenbacks, and legal tenders, national bank notes, and nickel and bronze coins. These forms of money are all available as circulation. So 111 years ago, our great-grandparents had a variety of options to be able to store their purchasing power, to be able to store their savings account, to be able to basically just, do as they pleased when it came to how they wanted to retain the value of their monies. And so I thought this article here was definitely something worth sharing. So I wrote a blog about it and expressed my viewpoints about that and how I think that here 111 years later, rather, my generation is pretty much getting screwed. we're down to just two forms of legal tender, of which I'll go into a little detail here if you are interested in checking it out. And then also, just on the subject of legal tender in general, it's something that you should begin to study and to check up on, because there's a lot of things going on globally which will definitely come back to your doorstep pretty soon, in my opinion. And I share some of that in my book here, The Simplicity of Money. If you're interested and haven't got a copy yet, you can click the link here and it gets you all the information you need to get you a free copy of this book, where I cover issues such as legal tender and just a little bit more in-depth historical aspects of legal tender. Thought I would share this with you, and I wonder what your thoughts are. Do you think that our grandparents had it better as far as them having more options of money, even though our living standards appears to be better? And also, in my opinion, that they lived a lot freer then, to where a dollar was actually worth a dollar. So it actually went further than a dollar does today. So that's another subject, but yet wanted to get your thought. Anyway, this is Mike with some information for you here at Rethinking a Dollar. Love to hear your thoughts. Thanks.